GP Indy. Hello and welcome back to coverage here at Grand Prix Indianapolis. I'm Marshall Sutcliffe. I'm in the booth with Kenji Egashira. We're in the middle of the pro show here. And boy, do we have a matchup here, Kenji. Look at this. Owen Turtenwald is going to be playing against Andrew Cuneo, his Team Pantheon testing partner. William Huey Jensen has drawn Rich Hoen in the middle. And Reed Duke is going to have to fight yet another Team Pantheon testing member, Ben Rubin. Ben, of course, in the Hall of Fame as well. Kind of matched up in a funny way, by the way. Ben Rubin's the Hall of Famer from the team on the right. He's playing against the only non-Hall of Famer on the team on the left. So things worked out there. All right, so what do we got here?
Grasping Scoundrel.
Right, so turn one play here from Cuneo says he's looking to be very assertive. And oh no, really just one of the worst things for Andrew to see here from Turtenwald. The Dusk Legion Zealot, it just says, eh.
This is exactly what I was talking about last time we watched Owen. He played the Dusk Legion Zealot, and I was like, well, it's great because there are so many X-ones in the format that it trades with, and it draws you a card. And look here, Marshall. I think he's going to snap block if he gets the opportunity.
Obviously, my God, he can't wait to look at that value. Just 2 for 1 city for Turtenwald. Why did Andrew make the trade?
So this is really bad for Andrew, but usually the Red-Black Pirates deck is super aggressive, and we saw the Scoundrel on turn 1, but he just didn't do anything on the second or third turn, which is generally, well, not good enough in this format, but, well, you see one of the premium cards.
Yeah, Ravenous Chupacabra. Old Chupa Chups come down and does exactly what he does best. Kills one of the creatures on the other side of the table while leaving a 2/2 behind, but I have to say that Andrew would have been happy, even happier if he would have killed something else, as the Chupacabra can trade for the Bishop Soldier as well, sort of completing that transaction. But still, he'll take it. Still a solid 2 for 1. And right now, you can see why Andrew has been clearing the way of any and all creatures possible. The last creature standing is a Legion Lieutenant here from Turtenwald. Certainly not going to block the Chupacabra here.
Yeah, I see a few other pieces of removal in Andrew's hand, so I don't think he was... You know,
he's not particularly worried. Also, a little bit awkward here for Turtenwald. His follow-up play on end step there was a Direfleet Poisoner. Good card,
sure,
but not a vampire. All right, there's a Sanguine Glorifier, and that's going to put a +1/+1 counter on the Lieutenant. It's also a 4/4 on its own thanks to the Lieutenant, and that it represents a very nice swing. We're going to need to see some of that removal here from Cuneo. All right, Plank, Walk It, and that's a good play. I mean, that's going to take away effectively 4 power off of the battlefield just with 1 card. Yeah. And now he's pumped the brakes a little bit here. No attack with the Chupacabra into the 3/3, and he can just leave it back. No good blocks here from Cuneo.
It's weird. Andrew's deck looks pretty aggressive. You know, he has that Grasping Scoundrel, but he has a lot of control elements as well.
Okay, well, it is Andrew Cuneo still.
I'm not going to give you any hints, but, well... We might see them later on this game anyways.
Okay. How about Golden Guardian, though, from Owen Turtenwald? Again, able to set this up with a Death Touch creature on the battlefield. This is one of those situations we saw earlier with a Skittering Heartstopper. He can actually transform the Golden Guardian if he can fight the Direfleet Poisoner here.
And it's not a loss of any mana to activate it on that turn. Again, it's 2 to activate the Golden Guardian. While it's not transformed, but then when it transforms, it adds 2 mana itself.
That's right. Any color, any 1 color to your mana pool when it becomes that Garrison. And you can see Goldforge Garrison right there. And as you can see, well, not cheap, 4 mana and tap the land. So, you know, you're talking about effectively 5 or, depending on how you view it, 6 mana worth of your lands being tapped. But you get to make a really relevant creature, a 4/4 Golem token, and you can do that every turn. And no, those ones don't have Defender, so they can take over the game very, very quickly. If you're looking at trying to do the removal game here, as you know, you mentioned that Andrew may be doing, well, Goldforge Garrison is the answer to that. It's just simply will overwhelm any type of attrition war.
I really like this play from Owen. He's using the Guardians right now to transform.
Yep, and that's exactly what he does. So he's going to fight his own creature, which is the only way you can do it. You pay 2 mana, but his creature has Death Touch, so it will kill the 4/4 Defender and transform it into Goldforge Garrison. And now he's got 2 mana available, which is fine. But more importantly, he can start pumping out these 4/4s starting next turn.
And now Andrew's removal looks that much worse because
Terrible.
the 4/4s are continuous threats that Andrew will need to get rid of, but he just can't keep using removal spells the entire game. He's going to run out eventually. So good play from Hoaen using it immediately, especially since he had another 2-drop to cast. And yeah, I mean, a little Blight Keeper there is not going to do too much against the Golden Power.
No. A turn 8 Blight Keeper? That's all he could come up with. 1 card left in hand, and this one looks well in hand for Owen Turtenwald. By the way, in the meantime, William Huey Jensen, take that, Richard Hoaen. He's up 1-0 with his blue-red deck. Looked like it could be quite quick.
Right.
And it was here as well.
Yeah, we've gotten a chance to look at Owen, Huey, and Reed's decks, but we haven't seen all of Andrew, Richard's, or Ben's.
That's right.
Let's see how many land Andrew's running. I can't imagine he's running more than 16.
Andrew?
Yeah, Cuneo.
Why do you say that?
Just because he's so low to the ground, he's so aggressive. I think he wants to maximize his resources. And
but you said he had like some controlling stuff going on later.
I just meant he has so much removal. All right, well, he has a Primal Death card. If that's
he's got Tetsamok. Well, that is one way to stem the bleeding here, but I'm not going to lie.
Oh, boy.
It is still not a great situation for Andrew, even if he draws his Tetsamok because of that. Uh-oh.
Now look what just hit the battlefield.
Profane Procession here from Owen Turtenwald. Boy, he just doesn't quit, does he?
Yeah, Tetsamok might be one of the best cards in the format, but Profane Procession right there with it. And you know what? Now Owen can just start stealing all of Andrew's creatures, or making 4/4s at the end of the tournament, and maybe even both if he hits enough lands.
Yeah, it must be nice to have the choice between just exiling any creature you want or making a 4/4.
Right.
Not bad, not bad.
I have a question. Is taking a Ravenous Chupacabra with Profane Procession good?
That's good, yes.
Okay.
I can confirm the goodness of that play. Yeah, this is just completely out of hand. I mean, Owen's been ahead for 2 or 3 turns significantly. Now it's just absurd. Like, it's hard to imagine there's any way for Cuneo to come back from this. And here's Recover from Turtenwald, drawing him a card and getting back his Legion Lieutenant. He just has too much stuff to do with all of his mana.
Yep.
And you can see that Owen Turtenwald's actually going to just take out the bat, and he's doing that because Andrew was tapped down enough to not be able to activate it. It was also tapped, and he's just going to go ahead and scoop him up. That's, you're starting to really narrow down what are the lines where I could potentially, in any case, lose. And Owen says, well, you activating this could be part of the equation, so I'm just going to take it.
Yeah.
All right, so that means that we get to go into game number 2 here of William Huey Jensen playing against Rich Hoaen, and it looks like we've got a Water Trap Weaver fight here, with Jensen having played the last one. He's got a Daring Buccaneer to back it up as well, though a nice turn here for Hoaen, who is going to go ahead and play the Pioneer and then put One with the Wind on the Merfolk token with Hexproof.
Yeah, I think that's a great play. Just too many ways to get blown out if he opts to put it on one of his non-hexproof creatures, and the 3/3 stops both of Huey's creatures anyway. So
yeah, seems good. One with the Wind, a standout card from Ixalan, and when you can get them, they're still pretty good here in Rivals, or Rixalan, if you will.
Rixalan.
Yeah.
Let's see, one of the more interesting rares from Huey's side there, the Summoner, the Tilinali Summoner on the
that's a cool card.
Board.
Yeah, whenever he attacks it, he can pay red and X. He gets that many 1/1s that are tapped and attacking with it. He loses in the beginning, at the end step, but if he has the City's Blessing, which you almost always do because they count towards it, you get to keep him.
Yeah, and Slippery Scoundrel that he also played prior to that Summoner is also going to be real nice because he can go to combat. He might not have the City's Blessing at the time, but then activate the Summoner, get City's Blessing, keep some elementals, get extra damage, make an unblockable hexproof creature.
Yeah, both players are currently 1 permanent away from the City's Blessing, though, at least as we know, it's only affecting Jensen.
Right.
Mainly for the Slippery Scoundrel. This is really the last window that Rich has to take care of it if he has something like a fight card or something like that. He's going to want to kill that now.
Problem is he already used the Hunt the Week. We see that in his graveyard, which took care of that Sprinter in the graveyard as well.
Yep. Yeah, he had to do that too. This could be rough.
All right, Dradecraft Artisan. He's just bashing. I like this idea a lot. He's trying to race now.
Because he's saying, look, you're going to get this thing going.
Exactly.
It is going to be hard to race the Tillinolli Summoner, though. Because it hits pretty hard. Like, just on this table, it hits for 5.
Yeah, especially when you're in blue-green, as Rich is. You don't have access to something like Shake the Foundations, Forerunner of the Empire, even something like a dual shot to get that 2-for-1 value. So I think he needs to press the advantage now while Huey's tapped out, just has some random 2-2s. Because Slippery Scoundrel looks a lot worse when you're trying to play defensively or when you're behind.
So the Buccaneer's going to trade for the Pioneer.
Yeah, the other option there for Huey was maybe double blocking the 3/3 Water Trap Weaver with his 2/2/2s, but that just runs into a number of tricks. I think he'd rather just take the trade. He doesn't want to list too many permanents, otherwise the City's Blessing is not going to be as easy to hit if he doesn't want to use the Summoner's ability this turn.
Hoenn has pulled significantly ahead in the damage race, though, with Jensen down to 9. But now it's Jensen's turn. He's got a Goblin Trailblazer. And that is City's Blessing right there. It's a Stormfleet Swashbuckler. Jensen says, well, I'm not really going to declare blockers, I suppose, so you want to just take the 2 here. Knock you down to down to 16, excuse me.
Oh, I think, is that a Hadana's Climb in Rich's hand?
Oh, that is one way to end the game. It does take a turn or two to get rolling, but...
Well, his Water Trap Weaver already has 1 counter on it, too.
So 2 turns away from transforming, and if you've ever played against Hadana's Climb, it gets ugly.
Yeah, Rich just doing some math here, because that Hexproof Merfolk, the one with the wind on it, can't be blocked by Huey right now. Huey just has a lot of ground creatures. All right, looks like he's going to go with another Dradecraft Artisan, though.
Yeah, just keep chipping away.
And you know what? That sets up for lethal next turn. Good play by Rich, who develops out a 3/3 blocker, but gets in for enough damage to put Huey lethal with the Hadama's Climb counter on the following turn.
Yeah, and that's on a hexproof creature as well. Very difficult for Jensen to interact with. And it's hard to imagine that Jensen's going to be able to kill him from 16 here without some pretty potent 2-card combos.
Well, one of his creatures does have double strike.
Yeah.
So that's a start. But
he has 3/3 blockers.
Right.
So it's just like, again, it's not impossible. I'm sure we could come up with some scenario, but if you're sitting in Rich's seat, you're thinking very unlikely that I die from 16.
Absolutely.
And that'll give him the chance to resolve the Hadama's Climb and finish off the game. So things looking really good for Hoenn. And if you look at the bottom part of your screen, Ben Rubin, he beat Reed Duke 1-0 in their first game. In their first game of that match. So 1 to the good for that team. And it looks like Hoenn's about to equalize here as well. So things are coming along.
Looks like that Summoner did some work.
And there it is. That's the game. Hadana's Climb is going to hit the battlefield and is going to win the game there for Rich Hoenn. Just the extra point of damage. And again, rewind 3 turns ago, Kenji, and you said you liked Rich's play of kind of going all in on trying to take the aggressive route. And boy, did it work out for him there.
Yeah, I mean, the Dradecraft Artisans were the big thing there. He was able to not only produce a blocker that was larger than all of Huey's threats, but it also added 2 damage on the turn that he cast it.
That's right.
And the nice thing about Dradecraft Artisan, it's a Merfolk itself, but unlike some of these other cards, you don't have to target another Merfolk. It's just target another creature. Now, of course, his creatures were Merfolk, but had they been something else, Pirate, he could still pump them up and get in for the damage.
Here's a good curve out now for Cuneo, by the way. He's facing down, looks like a few cards in the graveyard there, but yeah, it looks like players have traded some resources, removal spells for creatures early, but after the dust settles, it was Legion Lieutenant, but all by itself. And the Sanguine Glorifier there from Andrew Cuneo even has a target.
Well, I just want to note something. Do you remember what deck Andrew was playing previously? Turn 1 Grasping Scoundrel.
Yeah,
red
wait
cards.
a minute.
He was Pirates.
He was black.
He was Pirates.
What happened?
He went to his sideboard, and what I can see he has as a Tulpa, Primal Dawn. That's
Look at this. He just played a Legion Lieutenant of his own.
So he has a sideboard Vampire deck, Marshall.
What the heck? How did they come up with 4 decks?
That's awesome.
Or maybe 3.5.
I mean, we know his black's insane, right?
Yeah.
The Chupacabra, the Walk the Plank, the Tetzimoc I was talking about. You didn't know it, but he actually has 2 Chupacabras.
I was going to say, did you say Chupacabra? He's got a couple of them. Wow, so showing Turtenwald a totally different look here.
And it's working out. Legion Lieutenant, Martyr of Dusk, Sanguine Glorifier. Like, it looks like he might still be splashing for some red,
Is
but
this deck just better? I mean, look at this. He's beating Turtenwald in his own game.
I don't want to say it's better, but it's working out better than the previous game because he started so slow in the last game. Like, turn 1 Grasping Scoundrel, turn 4 Chupacabra, okay, whatever. When you curve out like this, yeah, it's always going to look better than that. I'm hoping we do see this Atalpa, though. And, well, why not the Tetzimoc, too?
Wow. I'll take it.
Yeah. This is a big attack. And remember, all those creatures are buffed up by the Legion Lieutenant.
And Jensen firmly on the defensive here has to now trade off his Legion Lieutenant for a Sanguine Glorifier, a transaction that Andrew Cuneo is going to be thrilled with as he follows up with the Bloodstained Paladin, or Paladin of the Bloodstained. What is going on here?
Paladin of the Bloodstained is just a great creature in this format. It was great in triple Ixalan, but with that Legion Lieutenant, instead of 4 power, that's 6 power of vampires.
Wow, that could have gone a lot worse for Cuneo. 6 mana from Turtenwald, but it was a Deathless Ancient.
Yeah, and we know Andrew has a ton of removal in his deck. It would not be surprising to see a Chupacabra, a Walk the Plank. In fact, he sideboarded into white, so he could have Luminous Bonds, Pious Interdiction, Ixalan's Binding. Look, there's just so many removal spells he could have here that would pretty much win the game on the spot. Doesn't look like he has one, though, so he's going to attack in with the only creature that can. Trades away. And, yeah, he's still in a commanding position.
Yeah, things looking very, very good for Andrew Cuneo, though we do know that Turtenwald has some extremely powerful stuff available to him that could get him out of this mess. At 16 life, no attacks from Cuneo after the 4/4 Glorifier. So
back-to-back 4/4s from Owen Turtenwald here.
And is finally stabilized.
He is flooding out a little bit, though.
Oh, but that's one of the ways he can get back. Profane Procession. I was talking about this, Kenji. And now it's tick-tock because Andrew Cuneo needs answers for Profane Procession. And even if he has one, he's still getting 2-for-1 here.
Wow.
So we'll probably see the Legion Lieutenant get exiled here. And imagine how good that's going to be back on Turtenwald's side when he gets the thing transformed.
How close is Owen to double activating? Is that 8 mana?
Yeah.
Okay.
So not that close. I mean, he won't need to.
Looking at Andrew's other sideboard cards, he does have 2 Cleansing Rays.
Hey, look, a Territorial Hammer Skull. That seems like a fine target for the Profane Procession. And unfortunately for Cuneo, he just has to throw these things under the bus. And now we're 1 away from transforming the Profane Procession.
Yeah, Cuneo was just 1 removal spell away from basically taking this game over. A removal spell on either of those 4/4s would have let him attack in for quite a bit of damage, but Owen was able to stabilize.
This is absurd.
Yep. Profane Procession is just...
It's just too good.
An unreal card. Like, it's not just permanently getting rid of the creatures if they even, use an enchantment removal spell. Like, it's not one of the effects that, like Bishop of Binding, where if you kill it, you get your creature back. No, they're just gone forever.
Right.
But if you do let it transform, then your opponent is going to get all those extra value cards.
Right. Tomb of the Dusk Rose allows him to pay 4 mana and tap it to get one of those creatures back.
And
on his side,
he has enough mana to do it right now.
Yeah.
Like Paladin of the Bloodstained with his extra value, right?
Now, one question that I actually haven't seen come up before, but if he had 10 mana here, could he stack them?
He could stack them.
Okay.
Correct.
And get even an additional creature?
Right.
Now, the second one would not go under the Profane Procession because it would be transformed? Is that true? Maybe I'm getting a little too judgy on you here, Kenji, but I haven't seen the interaction yet of getting the double activation on that last one.
Yeah, I know you can do that. I know you can double activate.
Yeah, well, I know we would exile it because you'd have a thing
Right.
that says exile this, but I'm just curious if it would end up being available for Tomb of the Dusk Rosing.
I guess
we'll find that out for you at home.
How it's worded there.
Yeah, but this card is just absurd. And now he gets to just start recouing value here turn after turn. You'll see the cards with the red sleeves on Turtenwald are the ones that he's stolen from Cuneo, who was so far ahead.
You know, Cuneo draws his Tetsamok, he's right back in this. Or Zetalpa, right back in this. But yeah, the name of this game is definitely Profane Procession.
So it looks like Zetalpa, that plan's over. It's in the graveyard now.
I gained 2 life from Archer. Oh, I didn't lose 2 life. I controlled the vampire at that time. So you're actually supposed to be at 16? Yeah, I have myself at 16. And I'm at 18. Right.
Here, the players making sure that their life totals are correct.
It was reflected on the life totals.
Yeah, just not theirs.
Right.
I mean, we're all over it.
So Owen gave the Glorifier of Dusk flying there, which is why he went back down to 16.
So Cuneo's going to end up at 10 after this transaction. And Profane Procession is just completely dominated this board. And all Andrew Cuneo can do is continue to play lands. He does need to in case he finds Tetsamok, but he may not have time.
Yeah, this looks like it'll be the game-winning turn if Cuneo doesn't have anything. That's 10 points in the air.
Yep, and that is, in fact, lethal.
I agree.
And I'm sure Andrew said something like Profane Procession isn't fair and it's broken and I don't like it. And Owen said, yep. He was so far ahead. And that is the match, by the way, going to Owen Turtenwald. So, with 1 game win apiece for both Duke and Jensen, they can win the round by just winning a game. Now, on the other side of the table, though, Rich Hoaen and Ben Rubin have also got a game win apiece. So, if they both win, the round will go the other direction. Let's see. How does it look here for Jensen?
Looks like he's used a few removal spells on Rich's creatures, but it looks like Rich is in the favorable position because now Huey is just bouncing creatures, but not really on the offensive. He doesn't have a better board position to really push that advantage.
Yeah, you want 4, 5, maybe 6 power backing up these bounce spells. Instead, he only has 2.
Yeah. Also, it looks like Rich's creatures have gotten some extra value. Jungleborn Pioneer producing that 1/1 hexproof Merfolk you see on the battlefield. Silvergill Adept, of course, drawing that extra card when it enters the battlefield as well. Merfolk Branchwalker with every creature that he's played has accrued some value.
And there's one with the win once again. But look at this. Lookout's Dispersal from William Jensen. He brought that in and said, yeah, got to do something.
That was good, but he's still taking 5 this turn.
Yes.
You know, on a 2-turn clock. And Rich had another follow-up, that bounced creature.
What in the world? And a land off the top for Jensen. Things are not looking good for him. This might come down to Reed Duke versus Ben Rubin.
You know when your Goblin Trailblazer's left back on defense, you're not very happy.
Yeah, you're real unhappy with that. Chump block and I'll die next turn is basically what Jensen's saying here.
And you know what? Wow. All of these, well, a lot of these 2-1s from Rich are just unblockable from Huey's side because we know all of his creatures
how about we
like
shake
2
some
power.
foundations, Kenji?
I would love to do that right now.
That is not going to happen here, though. Stormfleet Swashbuckler is the play from Jensen. And he's facing lethal damage.
Yeah, Rich has 4 Guiltgrove Stalkers in his deck. We see 2 of them on the battlefield right now.
By the way, it looks like Hunt the Week as well. So this one is well in hand here for Rich Hoaen. And Jensen extends the hand. That means that we have one more match to decide the round. Reed Duke versus Ben Rubin. Oh, boy, we got a real nice one here. And let's see what we're looking at.
It's a far cry from what we were just watching.
This is a much more stripped down board state between these two. All right, well, there's some power on the board for Duke. Wow, okay, we came at just the right time. He just added 7 power to his board that it currently had 0 when we walked in, but it looks like Lookhouse Dispersal may stop Pioneer there. Still Frenzied Raptor. And is that the Compass down there?
Yeah, the Thematic Compass.
Oh, boy, Reed went deep. He did say when we interviewed him earlier, well, they handed me the pile of cards and said, make this work. So I guess you do what you got to do.
And we know he has Tashana. We know he has Burning Sun's Avatar. He has a lot of good cards.
He also has Thematic Compass. All right, so bounce spell there from Rubin, but nothing to follow it up.
A Crashing Tide. Found him a land, though.
Okay.
Looks like. And this doesn't appear to be a very, I would say, normal game of Rivals of Ixalan Limited.
No, it certainly does not. Looks like that was land number 7, so the Thematic Compass is going to transform. And for you old school players back there, this is going to remind you, although it is different than Maze of Ith. Untap target attacking creature, but only one that an opponent controls, and you just remove it from combat. It's pretty good, though. It means that whatever their best attacker is, like this right here, an Air Elemental, you know, if it's going to attack, it just doesn't get to do anything as far as attacks goes, so the second best creature has to be a good attacker as well. Now, it can still block fine.
Sure.
So, Spires of Araska, fine.
I think you're always happy to play Thematic Compass / Spires of Araska. It's a little bit awkward when you're going heavy aggro. Maybe, you know, in Huey's deck, for instance, it doesn't do that much because he wants to be attacking.
You would not want it there, yeah.
Ben not in the most enviable positions. Frenzied Raptor does get to attack into the Air Elemental. I think I saw a Bombard in Ben Rubin's hand.
Okay.
Just some ways to stabilize. I mean, I'm sure he's going to be holding that for a more relevant creature. Okay, the Horncrest.
Yep, Stampeding Horncrest. It's a 4/4 with haste, thanks to the Raptor there. Or the Whiptail. By the way, something funny is happening down there.
Well, I'm going to think that that 3/4 attacking into a 4/4 had something to do with it.
Okay.
We're not representing anything.
No.
We're just attacking with our 3/4 into your 4/4. 2 mana casually open in red and green. That could signify any number of tricks. And yeah, Ben just in real bad shape. Only access to 1 red mana as well. So didn't have a really good opportunity to fire off the Bombard. So I wonder what your game plan is here if you're Ben. I'm going to take a look at his deck list because I think he probably has to trade off here, right? The question is, does he want to force the trick out of Reed Duke's hand and take 8? Or does he want to just see if Reed takes a trade on one of the other 4 power creatures?
No, he's going to make him play something.
Okay.
But again, it was fairly obvious that Reed does in fact have something.
Oh, so
although
this was...
it's actually not that great.
Yeah.
It's dual shot.
That
and
was really good for Ben.
2-for-1. Yeah, so Ben decided to make him pay, and he did. He ended up having to give up 2 cards, but still, you got to love Reed Duke's board state here. He just crunched in for 8 damage, left Ben Rubin with no creatures. But Rubin does have a lot of cards in hand, though they're all red.
Yeah, they're all red, and I think he has at least 1 double red card. I think he has the Charging Tuscadon as well. So we're probably just going to see a Bombard here before Reed can untap with, say, another trick of some sort to pump up his creature and save it from combat.
Well, you know, if Reed is out of gas here, that can be a very important step for Rubin. If he takes 4, he goes down to 8. Okay, it's not great, but he's at 8. He's still alive. And if his next red card can deal with the Frenzied Raptor, either block it or kill it, he will have stabilized. So this is a big moment if you're sitting in Ben Rubin's seat. You're crossing your fingers with your teammates that Reed Duke doesn't play something great. Because if Reed slams a
Colossal Dreadmaw.
Colossal Dreadmaw, perfect. This is really bad news for Ben.
Yeah, and Ben's deck is actually slanted really aggressively. He wanted to start off with a 2-drop, a 3-drop, and instead he had this slow, kind of grindy hand with a counter removal spell and some of the cards that he couldn't cast. So this is going to be very hard for him to get out of this one. Like if he's just playing a Stormfleet Sprinter here, or a 3-mana Daring Buccaneer.
Yeah, that is not the play that he wanted to make. Again, if Reed-Duke had been out of gas, this would have been fine. He could trade this thing off or prevent the attack and maybe build his way back in. But playing a 2-2 with all that mana available, facing down the board, he is. Oh, and kaboom. That's game, and that is the round going to everybody's favorite team, the Peach Garden Oath. Are they your favorite team?
No.
Who's your favorite team?
Us.
Me and you?
Yeah. All right,
I like that. But a tough round there for both teams. I mean, this is two of the better teams in the room for sure, with most people having Peach Garden Oath as just the best team in the room. And they do end up pulling out the 2 match wins needed for the round. And that means that they are going to advance to 5-0.
Yeah.
Here at the Pro Show.
8 rounds today. So.
And welcome back to the booth here at GP Indy. Marshall Cycling with Kenji Egashira. Welcome along. We're in the Pro Show here. This is where we showcase some of the best players our game has to offer. In this case, the best teams. And, that has to be two of the top teams clashing there, Kenji, in round number 5.
Absolutely. It was just amazing to watch them play. Even though, Ben stumbled there at the end, didn't really get off to the start he wanted, it was still interesting to watch.
Yeah, it still was. And Profane Procession. Oh my God. That was so absurd because he was so behind.
Yeah.
And then it's like turn 8, land Profane Procession, go. And it's like, wait, he's facing down 6 creatures or whatever, but all of a sudden they just die. And then they repopulated his board, and that card single-handedly got Owen Turtenwald out of a real mess there. By the way, we're going to be having a quick chat with Owen Turtenwald in just a minute. We'll, of course, ask him about Profane Procession. What do you think he's going to say? He's
going to say, yeah, I drew my best card, and
both teams played hard.
Cuneo didn't draw anything to press the advantage.
I don't think he's going to say that. All right, let's take a minute here. We've actually got Owen Turtenwald down in the feature match area right now. Owen, what's going on, buddy? It's your old pal Marshall. I got Kenji Egashira with me. Owen, Profane Procession, what is up with that card?
It's okay, I guess. I don't know. If you get the 5 mana, it can be versatile. It's pretty good. I don't know.
Uncommon level power.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, when we came into your match, Owen, you were significantly behind.
Wow.
And you played for Profane Procession, and from that moment on, everything just skewed towards you.
Yeah. Funny story about that card, Profane Procession. I was playing with my friend Brock Parker at the pre-release, and he had it in his deck. So I was playing my pre-release sealed deck against his sealed deck, and the first 7 or 8 times he played it, I played it out, lost, and then I started to get really frustrated. And then I decided I was just going to immediately concede every single time, and then after that, I made him take it out of his deck. I'm like, this is horrible. Like, we must have played 50 or 60 games. I'm like, we can't play anymore. It's not fun.
I told you, Kenji. He wasn't going to say both teams tried hard. What was it like sitting across from, a lot of your testing team there? I mean, pretty comfortable environment for you?
Yeah, no, I mean, they're great players, but I almost feel a little bit more relaxed when I'm playing against a strong player because I kind of know where they're at. I can make reasonable assumptions about the way that they would build their team sealed decks and looking at the color combinations. I mean, it makes it easier for me to understand what's likely to be in their hand.
Well, going off of that, I wanted to ask you, so Andrew sideboarded into a completely different deck. It looked like a great Vampires deck from the previous game. He went to turn 1 Grasping Scoundrel. What did you expect to see from him there? Why do you think he sideboarded there?
He told me that his sideboard contained 2 copies of Cleansing Ray, which says destroy target vampire, which is actually also a great card against a black-white deck because in Team Sealed they're so likely to actually have the Procession, the card that I had, because it also just kills an enchantment. So having 2 mana destroy target creature is enough of a reason to go into one color versus another, and it seemed like their decks were blue-red, blue-green, and then he just had black, blue, and white. So he had a black-red pirate deck for if he was on the play against an unknown deck, and he had a white controlling vampire deck if he was to play another vampire matchup.
How do you guys feel about your deck? Team PGO 5-0 now to start things out. Is your pool good?
I was nervous at first. It was a very stressful, almost heated deck building. I mean, I felt very strongly about certain things that we didn't quite end up doing, but my teammates are amazing players. They're very smart people. They built good decks. They've played well all day. We're 5-0. I feel good about it.
Yeah, not too bad.
Seems
Owen,
good.
Thanks a lot for taking the time, buddy. Good luck in the next round. so. I told you, didn't I?
Whatever. I wanted to believe, Marshall. I wanted to believe.
No, Hoaen, he gives it to you like it is. He's gonna tell you what's up. He made a rule that he scooped to Profane Procession whenever Brock played it at their pre-release fun matches. That's your own Turtenwald for you. Okay, we've got a short break. When we come back, though, we'll have Time Walk Magic here from round number 5. Don't go anywhere.